Come see us on tour in Hartford, Connecticut, Syracuse, Atlantic City, Levittown, New York, Co-Host, New York, Providence, Rhode Island, Los Angeles, Bakersfield, San Jose, Toledo, Ohio, and Toronto, Ontario. Go to jimmydore.com for a link for tickets. Here is Americans' bases surrounding Iran. Okay? What are they doing?
Right where we want them.
What are they doing putting their country in the middle of all our military bases? So if Doge was a real thing, which I think it's fun that they find out these, they're funding trans ballets and stuff. That's fun and it's hilarious. Yeah. I doubt that money was even being, but the point is, if they were serious about cutting money and balancing the budget, they would get rid of all these bases. These are American bases, military bases. This is actually from 2017. So there might be
stationed in Turkmenistan.
That must be fun. So there might be a few less in Afghanistan. I'm not even sure about that. But look at all of them in Saudi Arabia and Qatar.
Why didn't Russia want to have all their bases around them?
Where's the Russian bases? There's not. Where's China's bases? They're not there. Just the United States, because our government is taken over by the military-industrial complex and Israel. That's why. So why do I bring this up? Well, because I had a guy on social media say, hey, the Houthis, the people in Yemen, they attacked our group of carriers in the Red Sea. And my question is, do you hear what you're saying? Why does the United States have a group of carriers in the Middle East? Does China have a group of carriers off California? Does Russia have a group of carriers in the Hudson Bay? No. So U.S. naval assets in the Red Sea. There's the USS Harry Truman. So that's the aircraft carrier. But it's not just an aircraft carrier. With every aircraft carrier comes a bunch of destroyers and battleships. So then there's the U.S. Gettysburg, the U.S. Stout, U.S. Jason Dunham, the USS The Sullivans. The Sullivans. Sounds like you're stationed at a pub.
Yeah, sounds like the Fighting Sullivans, that movie about that where the entire family dies in World War II.
Oh, that's right.
The Fighting Sullivans.
So, this is how we say we care. Some people send flowers. The United States, we send aircraft carriers and the Sullivans. USS Georgia is also there. So want to hear this.
Don't forget the USS Israel, our best friend and aircraft carrier.
That's right. That's right. So here's the aircraft carrier. That's the Truman. That's in the Red Sea. The USS Gettysburg, that's a guided missile cruiser. That's also there. That's the USS Stout. That's another guided missile destroyer. The USS The Sullivans, that's a guided missile destroyer.
What? What kind of name is that?
I know, the Sullivans. The USS...
The Family Guy?
The USS Georgia is there. That's a guided missile submarine. So we have... Imagine if Russia or China had all those in the Red Sea too. They don't. Well, they don't. Imagine if they had them in the Gulf of Mexico. America. Imagine if they had that's the equivalent of what we have.
Yeah, and also, again, really nice stuff. We haven't won for many years.
Right, yeah. That's the sad part. Well, here, let me just show you this before we get to that. The USA has now moved 7 B-2A Spirit stealth bombers to the Diego Garcia Air Base in the Indian Ocean, together with a large number of support aircraft. So these are all our stealth, right? These are stealth. They're so stealthy you can see them. The Houthis in Yemen and the Islamic regime in Iran are within range of this. That's why they're sending them.
Thank God. Oh, wow. And by the way, they haven't been defeated, the Houthis, even though they've been bombed for
70 years. 70 years, as George Galloway just told us. So also, there's a second U.S. aircraft carrier strike group heading to the Middle East. So not only do we have all this stuff there, we have whole nother group just like this and just like this heading there.
Yay.
Yay. And here's all our bases. And of course, here's the sad part. The really sad part is America would still lose in a war with Iran.
Yeah, why would we win that? We didn't win against Iraq. They didn't have hypersonic missiles.
And how do I know that we would lose? Well, check our win-loss record since World War II. It's just...
It ain't good.
It's not me saying it. This is the math saying it. America can't win wars.
Look at all those, like a sex offender registry, all that to lose.
To lose.
America doesn't win. Why do people think that we win?
And because we're trying to fight people who live there, just like in Afghanistan. They knew they were going to win because they lived there.
Right. You know how the WEF is having a hard time conquering America because the people that live here don't like it and have guns? Well, that is true of a lot of places.
Yeah. So Iran has hypersonic missiles. Do you know who doesn't? None of these bases, the United States bases, none of them have hypersonic missiles.
Those are just juicy targets.
Yeah. Hypersonic missiles. They have them. Do you know who doesn't? The United States. How is that? I don't know.
You're worried about nukes in Iran. If you're worried about nukes in Iran, you're a moron that doesn't know anything.
Why does Iran sit right in the middle of where we have all our military bases? It's like they're trying to pick a fight.
Yeah.
It's like they're trying to pick a fight. Well, guess what? More good news, ladies and gentlemen. It appears to be significantly increasing its military presence in the Middle East. Who? The United States. What are they doing? The United States is sending highly sophisticated aircraft and a second aircraft carrier to the Middle East. In recent days, at least 5 B-2 stealth bombers have deployed to Diego Garcia, a British military base used by the United States in the Indian Ocean. More are apparently en route.
Nice.
Nice.
I remember our last war with Iraq that somehow Iran won, and I Operation Third Time's a Charm is go.
So here's where right here is where the USS Truman is, right, with all those battleships and submarines, and now they're sending all these over here. So that's over there, and now they're sending them right over here, so they could still strike Iran, not far from Iran. Just so you know, that's where they are. Here's Diego Garcia. That's where they are. So they're sending them there to ramp up for a war with Iran. That's what this is about. They're ramping up, Trump administration ramping up for a war with Iran. So
hey, remember Trump said the bloodshed had to stop with Ukraine, and I was really into that. I thought that was great. And but we got to crank up the bloodshed over in Sandyland. Apparently, that's where the bloodshed is going to be great. It's going to be great losing Americans. It's going to be great. Well, obviously, it's great killing them because we never stop. And
I would tell all your fat kids to start doing push-ups because we're going to need all hands on deck for Israel, because that's what this is all about.
Yeah, send your kids to die for Israel. Why not?
We did the Iraq war for Israel. We did the Libyan war for Israel. Did the Syrian war for Israel. With Sudan, Somalia, Yemen, and now we're gonna Lebanon, and now we're gonna do Iran. It's coming.
And here I thought a real friend just helps you move.
7 C-17 aircraft have also been tracked landing on the remote atoll, suggesting transportation of equipment, personnel, and supplies and refueling aircraft have been repositioned to strategic locations. The Pentagon recently ordered the USS Harry Truman carrier strike group to extend its deployment in the Red Sea by a month, and a second strike group led by the USS Carl Vinson aircraft carrier is headed to the Middle East.
Oh, I can't wait when we go to war to tell people how we're going to lose the war really loudly and obnoxiously everywhere I go, like an asshole. But not as big an asshole as someone that would go kill all them people.
Both groups have support ships, including destroyers, as part of the group. It is an unusual surge in military assets and an indication, perhaps, that the United States is planning heavy strikes on the Houthis in Yemen and possibly looking to send a strong message to Iran. So we're bombing the poorest country in the world, Yemen. Why? Because they're doing the moral thing and standing in solidarity with the people in Palestine who are being wiped out by Israel, and they're attacking ships that are... Why? Because Israel broke the ceasefire. And when there was a ceasefire, Houthi didn't attack any of the ships. Yemen didn't attack any of the ships. But as soon as Israel broke the ceasefire, which they did, Haaretz says that. I don't say that. Again, that's the Israeli newspaper of record is Haaretz. They're the ones who said Israel has broken the ceasefire, because they did.
Wait, let me play devil's advocate. I'll be Avi Lieberman, who called me up. But they're a left wing. What?
Yeah.
What, Avi?
Yeah.
Are they not an Israeli paper? Are they lying because they're left wing? Wow.
So Yemen, so they're looking to send a strong message to Iran, and by a strong message, it's the kind of message that blows up and kills hundreds of people. That's the kind of message.
Well, I hope it doesn't come back on us. What with those hypersonic missiles we don't have? Hey, remember when they said Trump called soldiers chumps?
Yeah, remember that? Well,
and he didn't say it.
He didn't.
Because nobody has to say it. People lost their limbs and lives and shit. And Al-Qaeda's in charge of Syria, by the way. The people that, if you're missing a limb,
yeah,
we put Al-Qaeda in charge. So
of Syria.
How do you feel? Like not a chump?
And I think the message, blowing up innocent families and targeting journalists and killing children, is that really the message that we want to send them? Because that's the one you're sending them, that we're going to slaughter innocent children and bomb apartment buildings. That's the message we're sending. That's really the message you want to send?
No, well, when you show strength, then all the stuff stops. You know how it was successful, all the stuff we did for the last 20 years?
How it was successful in Iraq, how it was successful in Libya, how it was successful in
Iran.
In Afghanistan. But Iran has hypersonic missiles.
Hey, good thing we've been strengthening our enemies that we have to go have a war with for the last however many years. Russia, Iran, China. We made them all strong. Even if they weren't that strong, we still couldn't beat them.
The Houthis, an Islamist group that controls a large part of Yemen, including the capital Sana'a, have repeatedly attacked Red Sea shipping in Israel during the war in Gaza, because that's the moral thing to do. Everybody should be doing that to stop the slaughter in Gaza. Europe should be doing that. The UK should be doing that. France should be doing that. The United States should be doing that to get Israel to stop slaughtering Gazans and stealing their land.
Or we could just stop giving them money.
Or we could just stop giving them money and it would stop.
We could do it peacefully.
Yeah.
Don't give them any money.
So if we
then let the billionaires here that are Zionists, that don't live in Israel, they got a lot of money. Yeah. They can go support Israel.
So but guess what? The attacks, when Yemen was attacking the ships going to Israel, those stopped. Those attacks stopped while the ceasefire was in force. But they've restarted following the resumption of Israeli military operations in Gaza, meaning they've started bombing the ships again after Israel started slaughtering people again in Gaza and broke the ceasefire.
By the way, Trump threatening them, they just got bombed relentlessly by Saudi Arabia for how long?
For like 15 years.
So I'm guessing they're not going to be impressed by that threat.
They're not impressed by that threat.
It seems like they just deal with it and they can take it. You know who couldn't? We can't.
The Trump administration has launched attacks against the Houthis to restore freedom of shipping in the Red Sea, a crucial waterway for global commerce, but not for the United States.
Israel.
It's for Israel.
Global commerce. It's for Israel.
40% of the shipping is for, of Europe's shipping comes through there, not ours. Less than 3% ends up in the United States. So this isn't for us. Why doesn't Europe take care of that? If somebody needs to take care of the shipping lanes.
Does Pete Hegseth get any of his pomade sent through those ships? Maybe that's what it is.
I think
his Brill cream.
You mean wet Pete? I call him Wet Pete Hegseth because he always looks wet. He always just
came out of a pool.
He always looks wet. He always looks like his. I don't know. Maybe it's because maybe his conscience is giving him that's what happens when your conscience is bothering you because you're killing children.
What, it makes you over-gel your hair?
It makes you, maybe that's it. U.S. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth has promised to keep striking the Houthis, the poorest people in the world, for as long as it takes. They've been being bombed for 70 years. Obama bombed the shit out of them. Trump bombed the shit out of them. Joe Biden bombed the shit out of them. Over 1,000 bombing raids they did on them. And that was at the behest of Saudi Arabia, and now we're doing it at the behest of Israel. You're not going to win. Just like we didn't win in Afghanistan. You're not winning.
Well, winning is not for you. Winning is for the people that make the money on it and fulfill their blackmail obligations. And
President Trump has warned Iran he might be forced to take military action against their nuclear facilities if Tehran doesn't agree to talks. Hey, guess what? That'd be a big mistake.
I mean, this is so stupid, dude. Well, hey, go for. They're hell bent on doing it. I'm looking forward to laughing at it because what else are you going to be able to do? Your money's going to it whether you like it or not.
And here is Pete Hegseth admitting that the Iran-funded Houthis narrative is made up. It's a made-up talking point to sell the bombing campaign to the average feeble American John Doe. Right here, he says. Pete Hegseth says to the vice president, I understand your concerns because J.D. Vance didn't want us to bomb Yemen. He was like, don't do it. And he's like, no, I understand your concerns, but we got to do it. Why? Because the messaging is going to be tough no matter what. Nobody knows who the Houthis are, which is why we need to stay focused on Biden failed and they're funded by Iran. So he's saying we just made it up because Biden didn't fail. It's bombed the shit out of them.
Well, he failed, but you're going to fail the same way, Hegseth, because you're doing the same thing as Biden. Really, all of our leaders are failures, aren't they?
And Michael Tracy tweeted this out after remember when Trump killed Soleimani?
Yeah, I wouldn't talk with us either after that.
Pete Hegseth called on Trump to bomb Iran and their energy production facilities, ports, and nuclear facilities. He said Trump should even bomb mosques, hospitals, and schools. And here he is saying it.
Sometimes you have moments, Stephen. I happen to believe that we can't kick the can down the road any longer in trying to prevent Iran from getting a nuclear bomb. They used the killing of Soleimani as an excuse to say, we're scrapping the Iran deal. We all know they were scrapping it anyway. So what better time than now to say, we're starting the clock. You've got a week. You've got X amount of time before we start taking out your energy production facilities. We take out key infrastructure. We take out your missile sites. We take out nuclear developments. We take out
popular
capabilities. Or, you know what, take out a Quds headquarters while you're at it if you want. I understand that's not a popular idea.
But I understand, I've been hearing that we believe that the Iranians are hiding missiles and weapons in some of these cultural sites, churches,
of course they do.
Mosques.
This is what it.
Yeah, because we bombed every other place.
Look, he's breathless, this maniac. He's too crazy for Fox News.
Yeah.
They're like, nobody wants this. But we can't kick the can. We can do it with cutting the budget, though. We can have Doge be completely fake and kick the can with the continuing resolution. For America, we can kick the can forever. We can't do it with Iran existing.
Islamists do is what they've done on the battlefield against folks like me and my entire generation. Human shields, using mosques, using hospitals, schools. This is what our enemies do. Now that doesn't.
And then what do? We bomb the hospitals. We bomb the mosques. We bomb the colleges, the schools, the universities. So that's not really a good strategy. Because we don't give
as bad as Israel. I always want to stress, I'm not just picking on Israel when I'm talking shit about Israel. America is every bit as demonic, probably more so. Because Israel, for some reason, is totally honest about their genocidal shit. America, we got to pretend it didn't happen.
So just remember when Trump said this about Yemen.
I look at your policies, I see secure the borders, bring jobs back. I look at the Democrats and many Republicans, and it's foreign war and foreign expansion.
That's right.
What is that?
I think it's just a failed mentality. It's crazy.
A failed mentality, which I'm going to implement immediately in my first 50 days in office. I'm going to keep it going.
Trump. This old Trump, I like him. Can we elect this guy?
I like the old Trump. The old Trump was great. The new Trump, horrible. He's like Joe Biden 2.0.
And the great Tim Pool, by the way, he's not saying anything about any of this. Just so you know.
You can solve problems over a telephone. Instead, they start dropping bombs. I see recently they're dropping bombs all over Yemen. You don't have to do that.
Yeah, you do if Israel tells you to. Don't you, bitch?
You don't have to do that. What happened to that Trump? That's the Trump that MAGA voted for.
I'm not a fan of Shabbos Goy Trump.
You don't have to. We want to hear it again?
I look at your policies, I see secure the borders, bring jobs back. I look at the Democrats and many Republicans, and it's foreign war and foreign expansion.
That's right.
What is that?
I think it's just a failed mentality. It's crazy. You can solve problems over a telephone. Instead, they start dropping bombs. I see recently they're dropping bombs all over Yemen. You don't have to do that. You can talk in such a way where they respect you and they listen to you.
Both the guys in that video now have different positions. How'd that happen? How did that happen?
Guess who doesn't have a different position? Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Oh, the one I'm supposed to hate, who for some reason is saying the thing I agree with every time.
She says, I have not heard a single American say they want another war in the Middle East or anywhere else. Not one. All I've heard is a loud cry demanding our government and its leaders put America first. I don't support going to war on behalf of other countries. I support peace and fixing our own massive problems for our own people. It's literally my job title, U.S. Representatives.
God, she sounds crazy.
Sounds crazy. You know why? Because she doesn't take any money from AIPAC. And that's why they try to make her out in the press to be like a main. She doesn't
that's what the Jewish space lasers lie that they said about her. The thing she never said. That's what it is.
And here's Dave Smith to remind you.
I like what that guy said. Benjamin Netanyahu came and testified before Congress in 2002, and he said with certainty that if we overthrew Saddam Hussein, democracy would sweep the region. He also advocated that we had regime change in Libya, Syria, and Iran. And he's still advocating that to this day. You must recognize that anyone advocating that America go fight another stupid, catastrophic war in the Middle East is your enemy. They are our enemies. Anyone who advocates that. If they start talking to you about fighting a war with Iran, you treat them like an enemy that they are. They are not on your side. Our people do not want to fight any more wars in the Middle East, period.
Whoa.
I can't wait till they start this war and then let's see the recruitment. That should be a real funny to watch. They're going to be stuffing people in vans like Ukraine.
So this is some breaking news. I just got this sent to me by my pal Sam from the UK. Here's just our good friend Jackson Hinkle. His hair is on fire.
It is. It looks like he's got like a low flow shower head or something. What's with his bouffant? His Moavelo is not waving.
So let's listen to what he has to say. Nuclear bombers just flew around Gaza.
Hear this story far and wide. For the first time ever, the U.S. Air Force flew its B-52 nuclear bomber at a low altitude right next to Gaza last night. Imagine being so scared of the Palestinian resistance in this tiny strip of land that you have to threaten them with a nuclear bomber. And again, I'm really not that surprised, because over the last 15 months, Israel dropped the equivalent of 6 nuclear bombs on the people of Gaza alone. And through it all, the Palestinians remain strong. I have never known a people as courageous as the Palestinians.
Well, the Houthis.
Okay, but if in fact that bomber does drop something in Gaza, wouldn't Israel be completely impacted by that?
You mean
that was a great point.
Yeah, you mean a nuclear bomb? Yeah.
What are you going to threaten them with a nuke? They're right there. They can't use a nuke. They're going to hit Israel. We should have made those Iranian missiles that Iran has.
Yeah, the hypersonic missiles.
Oh, I can't wait for them to. Is someone not telling Trump that they have the? Why do I know they have those missiles?
Yeah.
Scott Ritter told us. That's why I know.
But I just want to hear. I want this Trump as president. I would vote.
I look at your policies. I see secure the borders, bring jobs back. I look at the Democrats and many Republicans, and it's foreign war and foreign expansion.
That's right.
Yeah, we're all against foreign wars and foreign expansion. Remember that? That? And what did Trump say to that?
What is that?
I think it's just a failed mentality. It's crazy. You can solve problems over a telephone. Instead, they start dropping bombs. I see recently they're dropping bombs all over Yemen. You don't have to do that. You can talk in such a way where they respect you and they listen to you. Viktor Orban of Hungary, the leader, they call him a strong man. Who cares if he's a strong man or not a strong man? He's a very powerful guy. He said the problem the world has is that Donald Trump is no longer president. When he was president, China didn't play around. Russia didn't play around. Nobody played around. And we had no problems. Today, the whole world is on fire.
We had some problems.
And you guys are starting to fight. You're bombing the poorest country in the world at the behest of Israel. You're funding Israel to slaughter the second poorest people in the world. And you're going to try to start a war with Iran. Way to go.
Look,
way to
America
go.
Can't have anything done until Satan gets his blood sacrifice in the Middle East.
Remember, Iran has a military pact treaty with Russia. Just keep that in mind.
Yeah, we can't beat little countries. You think we could beat Russia?
Right.
We made them stronger with that moronic thing.
Yeah,
that they
they're
did
stronger
for the
than
last
they've
4
ever
years.
been. They're stronger than they've ever
great.
been.
Their people are more loyal to that. Their people sign up to go die in that war. I wouldn't have my kids sign up to a war for Israel.
Not only Trump said that. Here's what Tulsi used to say. This is what made people. This is the good Tulsi. This is the Tulsi we loved.
There are millions of Yemeni people who are on the brink of death from famine, disease, lack of access to food and water, basic medicine and health care. Thousands of Yemeni civilians have died in this genocidal war being waged by Saudi Arabia with support from the United States.
It's absolutely outrageous that the United States has continued its support for years now for Saudi Arabia's genocidal war in Yemen that has killed thousands and thousands of innocent Yemeni people and caused mass starvation and suffering, a cholera epidemic, the worst humanitarian crisis in the world in Yemen.
Congress finally passed legislation to end U.S. support for Saudi Arabia's genocidal war in Yemen. Now this bill is sitting on President Trump's desk, awaiting his signature or veto. Now, he's already threatened to veto this bill, which just reveals how he cares more about what Saudi Arabia wants than what the American people want. You saw Trump's rhetoric on the campaign trail about Saudi Arabia, against the United States support for Saudi Arabia, calling them out for what they are, and now refusing to end U.S. military support for this genocidal war in Yemen that Saudi Arabia is waging, that's created the worst humanitarian crisis of our generation, because he says, well, he doesn't want to risk a multi-billion-dollar arms deal with Saudi Arabia. So, you can see, at least in that respect, what he's really motivated by. He would rather continue to support the senseless and devastating deaths of innocent people in Yemen and using our U.S. military, my brothers and sisters in the military, to do that, because he doesn't want to risk an arms deal with Saudi Arabia, a theocratic dictatorship that actually directly supports terrorist groups like Al-Qaeda. Trump's leadership, going back through his first term as president, he has been and remains very committed to combating and defeating the threat of Islamist terrorism that not only affects the United States, the American people, our own safety and security, but it is affecting so many people in different parts of the world. We can see different terrorist groups, the Houthis in Yemen being one of them, that President Trump has redesignated after President.
So apparently Tulsi doesn't know how the videotape works, or just doesn't give a shit, and she thinks you're stupid enough to just take it. So this is them betraying. This is them. She's not only. So they're not only betraying MAGA. She's betraying her former self. She's betraying
her
me,
brothers and sisters.
Her brothers and sisters. What about her brothers and sisters? What about the Constitution? She said it was unconstitutional for Trump to do this in Yemen.
Well, so Jimmy, you don't know how these people are. This deep state.
Betraying MAGA, betraying the Constitution, betraying her brothers and sisters in the military, betraying everybody who ever supported her for her run for president. Why? Who knows why? Because she wanted to be the DNI director. That's why.
Yeah, well, you're supposed to, this is where you're supposed to become the adults in the room understand that they just tell you lies to your face like a moron. They just tell you lies to your goddamn face. You're supposed to go, well, of course they're going to go back on their word. Is everybody not sick of that yet? When do people get sick of this?
So those two pieces of video of Trump saying how did he say it's a mental illness? It's crazy to bomb in the Middle East.
No, it's called the New World Order, and everyone's subject to it. And Trump ain't your savior to it. That's all it means. He has to bow his head to whoever's really in charge. God knows what that is. Just like everybody else, and you ain't gonna elect a savior. You got to start telling the truth and not being a punk and keeping your head down for your career, because that's what America's about. I know from telling people this stuff. This is what's upsetting to me. When I relay this information to friends of mine, not hostile people that are listening to it, they're like, yeah, I don't like to know too much stuff.
Yeah.
Overwhelmingly. That's what America is. I want to keep my head down.
They want to stay ignorant so I can work in Hollywood and show business.
What a punk ass country this is. What a country full of punks.
I mean, there's nothing more powerful than that video of her calling Trump unconstitutional, saying that you're betraying her brothers and sisters in the military, saying that we're creating the biggest humanitarian crisis in the world. And now that she's the DNI director, she's all for it. She's all
that's more
for it.
powerful.
Oh
I would
my
say
God.
her 180 is more powerful.
Same thing with Trump. Trump said it was a mental illness, and it's crazy to keep bombing the Middle East and bombing Yemen. You could solve this with a phone call. You don't have to do this. And they're both doing the exact thing Barack Obama and Joe Biden did. There's no difference. Continuity. It's complete continuity. And you're a chump if you go along with it. A chump. I know lots of MAGA that doesn't go for this. Just like I know lots of Jews who don't go along with Israel and Zionism. I know lots of MAGA who don't go for this. So it's time for you guys to speak up. And when you see some idiot who claims to be MAGA, who's parroting Tulsi Gabbard now and the State Department and CNN and Fox and MSNBC, you should call them out for it. Because if you have the exact same message as Marco Rubio and Tulsi Gabbard, Fox News, MSNBC, and CNN about the Middle East right now, you're a chump. And you are the enemy. Just like Dave Smith said, you're the enemy. Anybody who wants another war in the Middle East is our enemy. Come see us on tour in Hartford, Connecticut, Syracuse, Atlantic City, Levittown, New York, Cohost, New York, Providence, Rhode Island, Los Angeles, Bakersfield, San Jose, Toledo, Ohio, and Toronto, Ontario. Go to jimmydore.com for a link for tickets.